So what's up? This is your girl Shira. Welcome to the Self-Love Experience podcast. I have Anthony Lamar Smith here, and I'm excited because we're going to have some mind food for your soul with your girl Shira Nicole and your boy, Mr. Ant Lamar Smith. Welcome to the show, baby.
Thank you, my love. It is truly an honor to be on your show. Thank you so much. I'm nervous, actually.
I'm struggling with how to introduce you because I'm like, if I just go and start saying his bio, being your wife and all, it may just look like, I'm just saying all this great stuff. But the thing is that one of the reasons why I felt like my first guest needed to be Mr. Ant himself is because I know his story almost more than anyone. And I know that he knows what it's like to be up. He knows what it's like to be down, and definitely is a living proof, a living testimony of knowing that loving yourself first is the key to just letting everything else fall into place.
Amen to that. I cannot argue with the fact that it is truly, truly important to love yourself. I found myself many, many years ago before you and I met in a very dark place in my life. And during that time, I thought that I loved myself, but I really wasn't treating myself very, very well. I wasn't treating a lot of people well either. And having to take the time and say, you know what, listen, here's what I'm going to do. I need to get away from everybody and just spend some time with me, learning about myself. And it wasn't until then that I realized you cannot love anyone else if you do not love yourself first. We'll have feelings, you'll have these emotional vibrations that are, running through your body and everything. And you think that you have true love for other people, but it's impossible to truly love someone the way that they deserve to be loved if you have not even learned how to love yourself.
You know what's funny? You were talking about like you may think you love the person. And it's so funny because, when I would counsel people, we would sit down and we would just talk, or a mentor and a student, and they would talk about somebody. I'm like, oh, well, why do you love them? And all their answers were self-centered. Like, well, I love this person because they do this for me. I love this person because they make me feel this. But what about that person do you love? Like what do you love about them that they make me feel good? It's always going back to them. And the thing is that true love is unconditional. And true love is when you can appreciate someone for who they are and not just what they're doing for you in the moment. This episode is sponsored by Audible. So you can go click on the link in the show notes and try out a free subscription for Audible for 14 days. You'll be able to check out a book, listen to it. And do you know how much you can get done when you are listening to a book? And you got 14 days, you can just keep switching. You probably can go through 14 books in 14 days. So try that out. If you need a book recommendation, don't hesitate to ask me. But Audible's is here for you, here to give you books and make it easy for you to get the information.
Well, hey, I cannot argue with that either. I thought even after having kids, when you're looking at the baby and they're just so precious and so wonderful, and you just have these strong emotions for that child, all that is true. That is a legitimate, real feeling that you're having for this child. But just like you said, at that time, you're still reflecting on what that child is doing for you, how that child is making you feel. Because at that time, that baby can't do a darn thing for you. They can't pay your bills. They can't, even run an errand for you or do any chores like go get the remote control.
You know what? You teaching me something right now because I didn't think of it that way. Every time that you normally say that particular line, you're always talking about romantic relationships, but you're right. And I remember, dealing with teenagers, they'd be like, I want to be a teen mom. I want a baby. Why? So I can have someone to love me. I want to have a kid so I can have someone to love me, or I need to feel needed. I want to have a baby so I can do something for it. And it's still all going back to I. And the thing is, once you love yourself fully and all of that is together, It's always, a day by day process. But once you're in a healthy place, then you can forget about yourself and actually start giving that love to others.
That's true.
So many people think that self-love is selfish and it's supposed to be all about you, but it's really when you have this together, you can now really fully give to others.
Amen to that. Another fact, because if you think about the child, especially when they're an infant, that baby really doesn't even truly understand love either. And so they don't know how to express their love to you. So everything that you're doing for that child is trying to fill a need, that we're trying to fill a void. So when that young teenager is saying, I want to be a mom so I can have someone to love or someone that will need me. Yeah, that baby needs you, of course, because he can't do anything for himself. But there's obviously a missing component, something that is missing within you that you feel that this child is going to feel, or you feel another relationship is going to feel, or you feel having sex with a bunch of people is going to feel, or doing drugs and alcohol. We're
That's
always looking.
self-lust.
Huh?
That's self-lust.
Okay.
Self-lust.
And the problem with self-lust is that it feels good. And so because it feels good at that moment, you really think that it's doing something for you. But anybody that knows, that has experienced being drunk or have drunk a lot, and they're having a great time, and then you fall asleep and you wake up the next day. You've crashed. Your body can't move. You're feeling the pain. You're feeling the after effects. And that's the same thing you'll feel when you don't have that true love for yourself. You can search high and low. You can search in all the crevices, and you can search on the hilltops into the deepest part of the ocean trying to find the love, but it's in you. If you think about it for a moment, even the scripture says that God is love. You see, God had to have loved himself enough to create all of these other things and all of these other realities that we get to experience: the human body, the flowers, the trees, all of these things. If he had no love for himself, he could not express love for the trees and love for humanity and love for you and everything else around us. You have to learn how to take the time and truly appreciate who you are. And it's a process. It's not something that, a lot of us are born with this. Well, maybe we are born with this unique knowledge of loving ourselves, and we're taught how to hate. Maybe it's the opposite. Maybe we forgot how to love over time, because of all of the crap that we go through in life.
That's a whole nother show. But the thing
Okay.
is that we allow outside sources and other people to put these different limiting beliefs on ourselves. And now we have these limiting beliefs that, I did this wrong, and because I did this wrong, I'm bad. And because so-and-so got mad at me, I'm bad. And because I'm unable to do this, I'm bad. And before you know it, gee, all of a sudden you feeling like crap about yourself, and you're looking at everybody else and you're like, wow, why can't I just be as great as them? The thing is, they looking at you saying, why can't I be as great as you?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
It's so funny because I remember, like, when we first met, I was actually, I had just come out of this dark place. But if people would look at what I was experiencing in the natural, like financially, because I was broke, in between jobs and all that kind of stuff. Um, Other folks would probably look at me and say I was not worthy of the love that you had expressed. But I never felt unworthy of your love, because here you were, and you are this amazing woman, very talented, extremely attractive. I knew I wanted you in my life. I knew I wanted you to be my lady. I had to have you. But even when I only had, $100 in the bank, and all I could do was afford to take you to happy hour.
Okay, but you chose some really nice restaurants for that happy hour too, though, for real.
I'm working. I got to get my little commission check and everything. I don't have a lot of money right now. I used to have a lot of money, but I don't have a lot of money right now. But I never once felt unworthy of your love, because I took the time prior to us meeting to learn how to love myself, which is the reason why I was able to attract a woman of your caliber. Because if you're down here and you're vibrating on a very low vibration, and you're feeling like crap, you're feeling like you whatever your past is. Let's say you're a woman and you got, you know, 3-4 baby daddies, and you didn't have failed relationship after failed relationship, and you had all these problems growing up, and you can't afford, you know, to take care of your family, and all of these other things that the world would dub or deem that you are unworthy of a good quality man. You buy into that foolishness. And every single time that you find yourself in a relationship is always with someone who matches that negative energy that you have about yourself. It isn't until you learn how to grow from that and say, hey, so what? Who cares? I made some mistakes in the past. Whatever. I got 2-3 baby daddies, and it doesn't matter. You still deserve a good, strong, quality man. But how do you attract the quality man? You got to become a quality woman first. Internally, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, and the way that you feel inside, inwardly, is going to eventually express itself outwardly. And you're going to sip at the tea right now.
I'm just gonna sip my tea because you're preaching to me. So I'm just like, all right, Pastor, take your time. Take your time, Pastor Ant, take your time.
And I mean, you're over there looking all good and everything. I mean, I like the little scarf. You got the little Louis Vuitton to match the earrings. Oh, fine self. I see.
Oh, thank you. My husband got these for me.
You know, it is. I enjoy spoiling you, man. You're so much fun, and I am grateful to have the marriage and the relationship that we have, which is one of the reasons why, you know, I'm publishing a book about marriage.
That's what I wanted to talk about. Like, I'm digging your background. Okay, I'm not going to just sit here and just ignore the fact that you have several of your books as your background. Smart man, smart man. Right there. But what I love about all of these books, all of your the books that you've written and currently writing, and even your future projects, is that they're all labor of love. They're all, you know, your way of now giving back because you feel confident in certain areas, you have something to share, you have something to say, you have value that you now can give to others. So tell me about your latest book, your latest labor of love, The Married Life. For some reason, I don't know, but I'm feeling like I may have something to do that I might just happen to be mentioned in The Married Life as Mrs. Smith.
Yes, yes, indeed. You know, it's funny too, because you do inspire me. And it's very refreshing to be in a relationship with someone that pulls out the best of you. You know, watching you and all of your accomplishments, and just, I mean, I am in awe of you. And so I'm always inspired. I've always been a very ambitious person. I've always been one to go out and pursue my dreams and step out there on faith and things like that. But, you know, when you're not partnered with the right person, sometimes that relationship could stifle your other dreams and your other goals. And so because of failed relationships in the past and this philosophy that is embedded in the human psyche that marriage is bad, that marriage is hard. You know, people say all the time, marriage is hard work. And the reality is that marriage is not hard work. It's only hard if you're married to someone you don't want to be married to. Let's just tell the truth.
Well, now.
You don't like your spouse, that's hard. It's hard to be in a relationship with someone that you're not physically attracted to, that you're not spiritually attracted to, that you're not emotionally connected to. So there's no positive energy between the two of you. Absolutely, that's hard. But you can't say that marriage itself is hard. Just be honest and say that your marriage is hard. And so, you know, that's
well, how are you gonna help us, and how are you gonna help us? Okay, you know, pandemic, some people been in the house with their spouse for coming up on a year, right? Like literally. Yep. We are a month away from 12 months. I know we've been locked down in California since March, you know, and it's a lot of marriages that have not survived this COVID-19 pandemic, what information you have. Like, I know I don't want you to just share all your secrets, but can you give my audience a little snippet? Can you give them a little taste? This is the mind food. That's what I call it. When I'm talking to my guests, you all are feeding them mind food is mind food for the soul. I'm Shira Nicole,
Yes.
and like how that rhymes. So I'm gonna just take another sip of my tea and let you tell us a little bit about what people can do when they do feel like their marriage is hard work.
For sure, for sure. Listen, I don't want anyone to feel as if I'm trying to convey that you won't have challenges in your relationship. But there is a massive difference between challenges in your relationship versus challenges that affect your relationship. You see, so you might be having some financial issues right now, but those financial issues should not negatively impact your relationship. You got to learn how to separate the two. So, one of the reasons why I was inspired to write this book is because I want to highlight that marriage is actually fun, that you want to be in a relationship with someone that you like, that you can be friends with. Because if you think about it, and one of the things that you'll find in the book is that I talk about no one ever says that being your friend is hard work. You never hear two women say, girl, you're my best friend, but it's hard being your best friend. You know what I'm saying? You don't hear two guys hanging out at the bar or going to the sporting events be like, man, look, yo, bro, I know we've been friends since the third grade, but I swear to God, this is hard. This is hard being your friend. I don't like this. We automatically go into a marriage with this philosophy, and we shouldn't. You want to go into your marriage feeling good. So even now we're in a pandemic. This could be a time where the two of you can reignite the relationship, find ways to revive the relationship, to refresh the relationship, to go back to being friends. I write about in the book about a couple that I met that shared with me that you should be in a marriage and a man should treat this woman as if she is the woman that he always wants to marry, that she is the woman that he hopes to someday marry. It doesn't matter how long you've been married. Because remember, ladies, you all can remember when the guy who was wooing you and dating you and saying all the right things and hitting you up in your inbox and all the little emojis and sending you cards and whining and dining you and all of those fun things. See, that was sexy. And then all of a sudden y'all get in a relationship and you get run down with all of the mundane routines of life, dealing with the children, the bills, and all of those things. Those are things that are issues in a marriage, but your children and your bills and all of those other things should not affect your relationship between the two of you.
You're saying so many things that's just like so on point. But I want to go back a little bit because you started talking about how people go into the marriage thinking that marriage is hard, but people don't go into platonic relationships thinking that they are hard. And it makes me think about, again, limiting beliefs, something that we brought up a little bit earlier in the show, that it seems like we all of a sudden start learning these things that the world tell us that's not necessarily true, but then we decide to believe it, and we believe it, and next thing you know, we are experiencing it.
Oh,
absolutely. And that is not what we want to experience. So do you have like a go-to tip, a go-to, like what's in your toolbox? Because your wife seems like she's very happy. Everybody can just look at my smile and can just tell how happy I am. So what's in your toolbox that you use to keep the relationship fun? Because you were like, you should be having fun. You shouldn't be calling the marriage work. Marriage is fun. Marriage is fun and sexy. That's always been a quote that you said. So what is one of your go-to tips that you can share and give to the audience of something that you do to keep the fun in the relationship?
You know, that's a really good question. I would probably say the first thing for me that I would attribute to the joy and the happiness that resonates all throughout your face and your body and your energy is going back to the first principle, to love myself. I take good care of myself as well. You know, I'll treat myself. You know, I'll buy myself something nice. I'll You know, I'll go for a walk on the beach by myself, or, you know, meditate and do some things that I find enjoyable, because I cannot bring joy to you if I am not enjoying myself. You're my best friend, but I have to be a friend to Anthony first. And I think that one of the things that makes our marriage so successful is that you and I both give each other the freedom to love ourselves. You know, I give you the freedom to be able to spend some time, quality time by yourself. You know, quality time and say, hey, listen, you need the house to yourself. All right, you know what? Then I'll go to work, or I'll go do something. I'll go in the office. I'll stay longer. You know, you working on your books and you're working on your project. You need some privacy or whatever the case. Or maybe you might need some words of encouragement and some words of affirmation, or something to be able to recharge you and energize you. You know, that's another thing you have to do. You got to pay attention to each other. Remember, y'all friends first. Learn truly to enjoy each other. I'll say one other thing too. This is really, really crucial, especially during this time of this pandemic. I love my kids. I do. I love our children. They mean the world to me. But my children do not come before my wife. I didn't marry my kids. I married you. I married Shira. I became one with Shira. The children are just another benefit to the marriage, to our relationship. But you cannot put your children before your spouse. So you got to take time and tell the kids, listen, go in your room, or whatever. Don't.
Hey, that's why I started the podcast, so I can have my own experience free of profanity. Okay?
Well, that ain't a profanity.
It's not going to be that type of show, because you know you put profanity all over the YouTube channel. So we're trying to be clean here.
This is a clean, but no, seriously, tell the kids to go in their room, or you all go in your room. Do not knock on this door for nothing. This is our quality time together. We're going to be in here Netflixing and chilling, sipping on some wine or whatever y'all do, you know, but this is our time. You know, maybe you can run a bubble bath, and y'all get in it together. You know, turn on some soft music and just cuddle with each other. Don't try to go into all of the all that stuff, but that'll happen. But just play with each other. Just have some fun. You know, do something exciting, do something different that you haven't done. Play cards together. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Sit in the bed next to each other and text each other. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. Just find something fun to let your spouse know that, hey, you're important enough for me to take this time to give to you. And then she does the same.
Yes, you know, I love that so much. And that just goes back to, you know, what the entire show is about. When you have already taken care of self, you know, self-love first. You've already taken care of yourself. You're not even focused about yourself anymore. You're not even needing somebody to do something for you. You want to do something for your spouse. You want to make them feel loved and appreciated, and you want to just laugh and play, and you're not thinking about anything else. That's why it's so important to get yourself first, and then you can just give everything to your spouse, and he's giving everything to you, or she's giving everything to you, and everybody's taken care of.
Yes.
But when we like me, because you didn't give to you, so now you want the other person to give to you. No, you need to be responsible for yourself first. And you will see that if you got the right person, they will be able to fulfill and do their part. And that's how you get a whole.
That's how you get a what?
That's how you get a whole.
Oh.
A whole, not a whole. Stop trying to turn into that type of show. You all are whole. You all are complete.
Yes.
You all are one. You know, when they say the two shall become one flesh, that's how two becomes one. You're gonna hear what you want to hear. And that's a lot of how we have fun too, because somebody's always gonna say something.
Always.
And then we're gonna be laughing.
Yes. And you know what too, man? I mean, let's just be for real too. Sometimes the relationship that you're in is just not for you. You know, I've said this on our YouTube channel. I've said this when we have reviewed other reality shows where couples were just, they were just toxic. You just, it's not good. It's not good. And sometimes you have to love yourself enough to realize that this relationship just ain't working. You know, yeah, we're in a pandemic. And if this last 10, 11, 12 months have not tested your relationship or proven that you're in a good relationship, hey, I don't know what else will. And if you and if your marriage has been tested and that man did not like you and he mistreated you since day one, or she has mistreated you since the beginning of this pandemic, well, listen, let's be honest, they probably was mistreating you before the pandemic. This pandemic has just highlighted it. It's just heightened it. And so, hey, listen, you got to give a vaccination to your own soul at this particular point. I mean, give yourself a shot, give your spirit a shot and say, listen, I got to get out of this thing. This thing is killing me, you know, and go save yourself. Just be straight up and be honest. Hey, it's time for a divorce. I mean, I've shared this before and I write about it in my other books. I'm glad that I went through a divorce. It was extremely painful, absolutely. But had I not divorced, went through the previous relationship, I wouldn't be in this one. You know, let's be honest. Some of y'all should have never got married anyway. You knew
Well,
well that person wasn't right for you when you said I do.
you speaking the truth, and I would really like to touch on people who have been divorced or coming out of relationships, getting them to realize their worth, so they'll know that, hey, I'm going on to the next relationship when I'm ready. You know, when it comes to that, and I'm ready for another relationship, I'll be able to have that, and I am worthy of that. A lot of people think, for some strange reason, I don't know if it's the previous partner that told them that nobody would ever want you, that you're nothing, that you're lucky that I got with you and you won't be anything without me. I don't know, but there's so many people who have issues in realizing that you can move on and you can move up.
Okay.
You know, you can move on, you can move up, you can, and have a better experience. And we're not necessarily trying to say, well, this person is better than that person, even though that may be how you feel. But we are trying to say that your next experience can be better than that last experience.
Amen. Amen. And you know, you have to ask yourself when you're hearing these voices in your head that are saying that you're unworthy, that the grass isn't greener on the other side, that no one is going to love you. Really ask yourself, whose voice are you hearing? Is it really you saying these things to yourself? Or are you hearing voices of your mother saying this to you? Are you hearing, you know, your childhood teacher saying something to you? Was it your boss? Who implanted this idea in your head that you were unworthy of a healthy, strong relationship? That you were unworthy of loving yourself and finding yourself beautiful? And they always talk about beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but the beholder is you. Is how do you see yourself?
I
You know?
love that. Oh my goodness. I love that so much. That is so good. That is so good. And that's one thing that I would challenge everyone as we close out, is that take some time. And I mentioned this in the previous episode. Observe when you get those voices, when you get those negative self-talk, stop and say, okay, whose voice is that? Because that's not you. That's something that you've heard and you have learned along the way. So observe, just take some time to observe that voice. Because
Ooh,
when you
yes,
observe that voice, you're now not feeling the sting of the voice. Because
yes,
now you're on top of it saying, wait a second, wait a second.
yes.
So, Anthony, I cannot have you leave without letting us know, where can we find this book? I already know people on the YouTube channel, they've been sending me messages. They've been asking, when can we get this book? People want to know where to find this book. Please tell me where we can find this book.
You can find the book on Amazon. Go to my Amazon page, Anthony Lamar Smith. You'll find all of my books on there, as a matter of fact. And go ahead and order your copy. And then you can DM Shira. Send her your email address if you would like a autograph collection or an autograph copy. and she'll forward that information to me, and we'll make sure that you get an autographed copy as well. And so,
okay, you know what? I don't have the time to be checking all these emails about people who want an autographed copy. So what I will do in the show notes, okay, in the show notes, I will put a link to your Amazon account so they won't have to go in trying to type things. So we'll put that link in the show notes. I will put a link to your Instagram. So if somebody's interested in an autographed copy, they could DM you on Instagram. Okay, I love you, baby, but I'm not your secretary. Okay, I'm your lover. I'm your lover, but I'm not your secretary.
You see that, Joe? She loves herself too much to be my secretary.
Exactly. Sometimes you just gotta speak up, like, baby, I love you, but no, I'm not about to be the liaison. No.
Actually, you can also email me too at AntLamarSmith@gmail.com as well. And so if you want to put that in the notes too,
I'll put that in the show notes.
@gmail.
Instagram, the email, as well as the Amazon account. And then I would love to do something fun. So let's say this is how we'll do it. So if you are listening to the podcast, all you have to do is take a screenshot of it on your phone, all right? And then just put in your Instagram story or put in your Facebook story, tag me, and we're going to give away a free copy, a free autographed copy to someone. We need to do that. We should give away at least, I'm not going to speak for him, but we're going to give away at least one or two. We're going to give away a couple of autographs. Is that okay, Anthony?
I would love that. It would be my pleasure.
That's what you want to do. And I have all the information in the show notes too. Now, if you're watching us on YouTube, then you can actually take a picture of the screen so you can actually see us. So it's either be the podcast, photo art, or a picture of us. Instagram it, put it on your story, tag me, put it on your Facebook, tag me, tag one of us.
Yes.
And we will pick a winner to get several winners to get a.
You know what? I'm feeling the love, Shira. So I'm willing to give away five autographed copies.
Okay, 5. Okay, wow. So I have a lineup of guests all throughout this month and next month, because Black History Month is spilling over. So it's not just going to be February, but for you to be the first guest and to give out 5 copies, you have set the bar high. I'm excited. And we have other guests, and they're going to have other different products and things that they'll be giving away. But we heard it here, and said he has 5 for us, 5 autographs. So just make sure that you do that. If we just tag us, it's real easy. Takes a second, and put it in your Instagram story. Tag @Shira Nicole. Tag Ant Lamar. Is it Ant Lamar Smith on Instagram?
It's the real Anthony Lamar Smith
on Instagram too?
Yeah, because someone tried to get me.
He keeps changing.
No, my email address is AntLamarSmith@gmail.com.
All right, this is what I'm gonna do. Tag me. Too complicated. So you're gonna take the screenshot, tag me on Instagram, and we will choose a winner. 5 winners. We'll choose 5 winners.
Thank you, Shira. I really appreciate it. I love you, and I am grateful. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Make sure that you're being good to yourself, being good to others. Make sure that you continue to mind feed your soul. I'm Shira Nicole. That's Anthony Lamar Smith, and this has been the Self-Love Experience.